that's okay. Cause once you hear my poppin', you're gonna walk this way. Now I sound different, nothing quite like the rest, which indicates to all you industry insiders.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, did you miss us? Because we miss you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition, to another installment of Hashtag Fade to Black. I am your host, Donna Alamonte Morton, here with my bad boys, my gracious host, and us watching that crazy ass watch party. But that's not important right now. Billingsley.
What's up, y'all? Oh my God.
What's up, man? I had to bring it. I had to bring that up. So I had to put that spill on the show. But man, how you been?
I haven't let it affect my day, but I will say this. This is my second one. Anyway.
Did my infamous friend come up on your show the other night?
Oh yeah, he came. Dude, that dude came through and he was ready. I told him what you said. And he was like, because at first he was like, he ain't show up because he knew I had a shank for him, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, he had something that he needed to do. That's why he didn't show up here. Don't try to go ahead and say that about my boy, man. So right. he just rolled with it, talk shit and everything like that, man. But he wasn't he wasn't light on me anyway, because he didn't say too much to me in the broadcast, but the comments with Facebook, oh man, he was kind of brutal, and I was like, whatever, man. I don't even care. I think what's happened now is that my level of my belt colors of smack talk has leveled up, and so now it's to the point that I can fire back at these cats. At one point in time, and when I was younger, I wouldn't do it. I couldn't. I was like too shy about it. But I have loaded up in that since that time period to now, and I will talk shit, and that's what I do.
There you go, and there you go. So we're gonna change it up a little bit on the show. So we're not just gonna stick on one topic and talk about it. So we're gonna switch it up a little bit on the show. So obviously we do the opening statements, and I got a good opening statement for y'all as I got on my Aries Spears shirt. So y'all know my opening statement is going to be about, because anybody who's track on the Aries Spears Tiffany Haddish controversy, you might want to stay and tune in. Bring your mama, bring your kids. Don't hide your kids, hide your wives.
Don't bring the kids. This is gonna be
hard. So we got the opening statement, and then also we're gonna talk about our boy Mayo. He recently just had his campaign. Unfortunately, he did not win, but we're gonna ask him questions and ask him how the campaign trail went, the successes that they had and the things that they could have done. First of all, I want to know how a campaign goes, to tell you the truth. I've been watching documentaries, and you got a freaking a panelist that ran a campaign. I want to know the ins and outs. So we're going to be having that on the show, and then after we're going to be talking about sports. So we're gonna change it up a lot on this show. But so Billingsley, so for the opening statements, since you know what I'm gonna be talking about, because we talked about it a little bit before the show, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I'll go first, because I'm gonna go ahead and freshen up my drink while you do it, because I know you said it's gonna be a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and rock this if it's okay with you or whatever.
You go ahead and go first. But also, before we do, I can't believe I'm this disrespectful, but sponsored by Cheddar Boy Popcorn.
Cheddar Boy.
Don't forget to get your Cheddar Boy Popcorn. We actually have our state fair this month. Obviously, I think everybody's having their state fair in the month of September. They actually got a booth out there selling popcorn. I need to go out there and check them out. But unfortunately, once again, I'm going to be gone to my friend's wedding. So I'm going to be gone once again. But since the state fair is about a month, I'm going to go over there and get a visit, give me some Cheddar Boy Popcorn, and I'll be on and popping. No pun intended. But yeah, we like to thank Cheddar Boy Popcorn for sponsoring this show. So let me go ahead and get the Capture Brady and Billingsley. My boy, my dog, you are the first at the bat. Once I get everything straight over here.
It's
Here we
cool.
go. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the opening statements.
How's it going, everybody? Opening statements pertaining to the subjects that we're going to be speaking of today. The question that I ask you is, what is really funny? And at whose expense is it usually on? I mean, and I mean that in a short way, in a real way, because sometimes people can go ahead and throw jokes and the audience don't understand it. Sometimes people can throw jokes and the audience is understanding it, but they could be laughing at you instead of with you. Also, you have the master comedian who will go ahead and throw a joke, and it's an interaction with the audience in a mode of good creativity. A prime example of bad creativity is Mr. Kramer from Seinfeld. I forget his real name, but he tried his shot at comedy after having like this, being a part of one of the greatest hit TV shows called Seinfeld, and he bombed crazy like. And what he was going for was shock value. And shock value is necessary when you know how to use it. And my whole thing is when he tried to attempt that, his attempt at that was he's going with the day and time, feeling that by him just saying something shock wise, it will get him over. And it didn't, because when people are not used to you going off like that, it's not cool. It's one thing if you're a peaceful person and then all of a sudden you go off. Usually people will be like, "Oh man, you deserve that," because this guy or girl is usually a peaceful person. You know what I mean? But when you are like just being super over the top like that, and you have no reason behind it because somebody heckled you, that's bad press. And then come to think about it, come to look at it further, when he was in the army at one point in time, and you would not believe that he was the EO representative in the army. And it was like, when I seen it, I was like, typical. but in turn, we're talking about Aries Spears. Aries Spears has a long history within comedy. He's not as big as some of the other names that will probably be mentioned here tonight, but at the same time, he has had a long list of success within his career. And I'm so sad that the topic that we're talking about involves him. And I really believe that there are times that in people's lives that when they are going through either hard times or their creativity is lacking, they will go ahead and do anything, either to get a paycheck or to stay in the limelight. You know what I mean? So this should be an interesting talk, and hopefully we all learn something from it. Back to you, my dude. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Billingsley. Now, as he makes his drink, hopefully he can still hear me while he's heading over there. My take is this on the Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish situation. I support Aries Spears. Listen to me. I support Aries Spears. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm not saying this because I'm a fan. I'm taking my fandom out of this. I'm gonna tell you why I support him. This wasn't an issue until he mentioned something about Lizzo. when he mentioned his comments about Lizzo, now don't get me wrong, what he said about Lizzo was disrespectful. See, look, I'm not none of those delusional people that just because I like something doesn't mean I have to agree with everything about it. Okay? So don't put me in that category. Y'all should already know me by now. What he said about Lizzo, yes, it was very disrespectful, and I think it was very distasteful. But that was the match that lit this inferno. And I don't know why somebody would go back in this man's past, go back to a video that nobody even heard of. I never even heard of it. Take this video, share it with one of these publications or media outlets, and just send it out there to the world and just paint this man and Tiffany Haddish as pedophiles and groomers without getting the full context. Now, I saw bits and pieces of an edited version of this video. I saw the edited version because the guy wouldn't even show all of the stuff because he was thinking that he was doing a good thing of editing a kid that was in his drawers, like we never seen little kids in their drawers before. And editing all the parts that people were saying, but then he had something to say about it. I'm like, dude, you might as well show the whole damn video. It was a skit. It was a skit that was long time ago that if I could tell anybody about this video that will feel disgusted, but I would tell them, do you remember this video? I guarantee you 10 out of 10, because y'all usually know I say 9 out of 10. 10 out of 10, people will say they do not remember this Aries Spears sketch. Nobody never remember it. Never went viral. I guarantee you this video probably didn't even have 10,000 views. So you made a video that was probably decades ago, maybe even more than that. I'm gonna be hypothetical. Maybe let's say 10 years ago. This video was published, was pushed out. Nobody said a word. Now all of a sudden, now this video is getting attention. But see, people don't understand. They're trying to make it about the video, but not understanding where was this energy? Where does this energy come from to look for a video like that? Now, y'all know me. I agree with the cancel culture, but on one premise. And that premise is when something gets drugged up from your past, that you will stand on it. Because people will learn from their mistakes, but people don't have to tell you that they learn from their mistakes. Now, if somebody have a trend of doing the same thing and you bring up their past, that's a different story. I believe people should get canceled. I believe if people sit there doing dirt and they continue to do dirt, they deserve to lose everything. But this right here, as a person that's a proponent to cancel culture, this does not count. It doesn't even come close. And first of all, where's all those people that was defending Dave Chappelle when he was sitting there saying all the things about that transgender chick, use her like the white people do with black people when they sit there and say, I'm not racist, I got a black friend. Where he used that transgender to prove that he's not transphobic and that what he was saying was not offensive to the community. Where y'all at? Quiet. Crickets. None of y'all are coming to Aries Spears' defense. And then all these other comedians that was doing the same thing, sitting there vouching for freaking Dave Chappelle, are turning their back on Aries Spears? Really? I thought comedians have the full reins on saying, joking around and saying whatever. What happened to that? What happened? That's attack on comedians. It's attack on the free speech. They just there to express themselves. Where's that crowd at? Where y'all at? Like Pierre off of freaking Comedy Hype News. Sitting there saying, oh, it's a just I'm surprised that Aries Spears would do something like this. But in the same breath, oh, Dave Chappelle, they taking all his stuff out of context. It doesn't matter if Dave Chappelle is on, now he's making what, probably 90 million, 80 million, got a special on Netflix, and Aries Spears is down here. It doesn't matter. They're comedians, right? Shouldn't matter if you making the millions to just getting started or just on the come up. Comedians, right? They all should be held to the same standard, right? No matter how much money they get paid or how popular they are. They should have every right to joke around and joke about things like Dave Chappelle. And don't get it twisted. Aries Spears been on top before, ladies and gentlemen. He do got credits to his name. But the one thing I will not stand for is people not giving the same energy that y'all gave to freaking Dave Chappelle when y'all was sitting there jumping for him. But now all y'all sit there say, oh, snap, this man is a pedophile and all that stuff. Did you even see the video when it first came out? Well, it doesn't matter. Yes, it does matter. And second of all, what was the motivation of putting out that video? The motivation for that video was he said some derogatory things about freaking Lizzo. It wasn't, let's look up Aries Spears' stuff because Aries Spears got a way about him or how he's talking about children. No. It was just, he said something about Lizzo. So we gonna get him. Let's find anything in his past. And they did. It wasn't no motivation of him of suspicious activity or a pattern in his sketches or in his freaking comedy shows. No, it's because he made fun of Lizzo. Which once again, I must say, I didn't agree with. Still don't agree with it. But that should not give you a motivation to drug up of a sketch long time ago that nobody don't know nothing about and paint this man as a pedophile. And paint Tiffany Haddish, who's the innocent bystander in all of this, minding her own business. And now y'all sitting there going to tell a woman, a comedian, who's herself is a foster child, is a groomer. This is the issue with people when they see stuff like this, they just jump right on in the deep end. Don't even know what they jump themselves into. Not only just that, I'm not even going to sit there and say that analogy. I'm going to say this analogy. They're just looking at the surface, not even digging deep into what is actually going on. This is petty on full display. Full display. The question should be, what is up this video? The real question should be, what is the motivation of them looking up this video that nobody knew nothing about? It isn't warranted to sit there and put Aries Spears in this category of a pedophile, but you allow Dave Chappelle to make all these transphobic jokes. And not only just him, but other comedians too as well, that y'all all defend. Oh, it's just a joke. It's just funny. It's just comedy. But now we got this situation right here. Oh, I don't joke. Like I just saw freaking Godfrey, who didn't know nothing about it, and his panelist was giving them the wrong information, sitting there saying he was a freaking what's his face, was a Bill Cosby character, which he was far from it. And he's sitting there saying, I don't jump around when it comes to kids. Then you can't, then also in the same breath, you can't say that, well, we could joke about anything. And once again, I said this, and I'm going to continue to say it. It doesn't matter if you're a comedian. It doesn't matter if you're a politician. It doesn't matter if you're a podcaster. When you put yourself out there on Jump Street, you deserve as much as the rocks and roses thrown at you. It's not your opinion no more. Just because half of the people understand what you're saying. Majority and the rest of them are not. That's life. And you just can't always fall back and sit there and say it's my opinion. You never hear the president. When the president sit there and say the things that he say, he can't say that's his opinion. That's a statement. Your opinion is when you're around your friends, when you're around your group, your compadres that knows where you're coming from. Like me as a Cowboys fan, if I'm around other people that are different favorite teams, the Seattle Seahawks, they gonna know what my opinion is gonna be about my team or my preference about the football. But when I get on here in front of the camera and have my show and I sit there to give you all my preference, I'm gonna ruffle a lot of feathers. And I can't sit there and say it's my opinion. No, it's my statement. And I can't take it back. And if you do not like the scrutiny that you are getting when you run your mouth, do what your mama always told you. If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. But in this case, for Aries Spears, he do not deserve this backlash. Because the same people that was sitting there defending Dave Chappelle, y'all should be defending Aries Spears right here, right now. And understand the reason why that video came up was because some Lizzo fans were mad because of the things he said, and they just decided to drug up that sketch that nobody knew nothing about. And I know we're going to talk a little bit more about this during the show. I just had to get that off my chest. But Aries Spears, I got his shirt on this when I went to his last show. Yeah, McDonald's. Yep, got it on right here. Support you. I wish Aries Spears was on the show, but I know right now he's probably going through it a little bit. But Aries Spears, I support you. I just wish that the same people that had the same energy for Dave Chappelle had the same energy for you right here, right now. Because I forgot comedy. You can joke about anything. Anything goes. But now all of a sudden, now we care when it comes to children. Well, let's go ahead and take this commercial break, and we will be right back with the rest of the show. like that, we are back. Bills, your mic is cut off. Let me see if I can do it.
No, I got it. I just stopped it because out of respect, because you were trying to do your thing, man, and I didn't know
No,
if you could hear me or not. So I was like,
no. I do the So what I do is I would just remove you from the stream. So I won't hear you.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So I had to get my spill, but you had a perfect like layup for me to talk about it to step on into that conversation, man.
Bro, you went for it. You had a lot on your chest.
Yeah, I had to, man, because I have an issue with selective outrage.
Yeah.
It's very selective. I'm gonna tell you why, because it's easy. I'm gonna tell you this. Just I'm gonna mix it with the Cowboys. It's easy to blame Dak Prescott. Mm-hmm. It's easy, but people do not understand Dak Prescott is not the coach. He's not the general manager. He's not the owner. Mm-hmm. He's basically doing what he is told. Yes, he is the team captain, but guess what? Even the captain got to take orders. Just like in the military, that company commander still got to take orders from who? The battalion commander, who still had to take commands from the brigade commander. Still, the brigade commander still got to take the orders from the division commander. And the list goes on and on and on, all the way to the freaking general of the army, the commander of the army. Nobody's hired to him other than the freaking president of the United States.
Yep.
Not even the Secretary of Defense or the Secretary of the Army can look eye to eye at a 4-star general.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, it's easy to sit there and trying to paint Aries Spears as a freaking pedophile and Tiffany Haddish as a freaking groomer from a skit from long time ago.
Yeah.
But not even talking about the motivations of why they look for it. See, this is why I love this show and I love the panel members that I have on here, because we do control the narrative, and this is what the narrative should be about this story. What was the motivational factors on why they looked up the freaking video? And I know everybody on this panel, other than myself, is not for cancel culture. I believe in cancel culture. I believe that people should be taken off. Definitely if they've been having the pattern of doing shit and not being accountable for it. I believe that they should use all the money, everything. But on the premise of them with a pattern of this behavior, a pattern. Freaking, and we talked about this a little bit before the show. Aries Spears comedy, to me, I see is no different than a Richard Pryor, a Red Fox, or Rodney Dangerfield.
Nope. I totally disagree with that. with it. Okay.
How's that?
Okay, I'm gonna hook you up with this one, buddy. Richard Pryor, who's the foundation of a lot of comedians today, depending on the comedian, because if they, look back far enough, Richard Pryor was known as a person who talked more about his life than he did about other people. He talked about other people, but it was pertaining to his life. He was more making fun of himself, but at the same time trying to make sense of his life. He was one of the greatest storytellers that has ever taken the stage as a comedian. And I was taken aback by his style. I didn't understand it until I was older. Naturally, my parents would go ahead, put on a Richard Pryor album, and they're laughing their ass off. I'm laughing along with them, not understanding it, But when I got older, I understood a lot more of what it takes to be the comedian that he was, and then also how a lot of comedians, even today, bit off of him in order to go ahead and make it, such as your Eddie Murphys, even David Chappelle, etc. But then you mentioned him, you mentioned Rodney Dangerfield, who did the same thing. He did it in a different way. He more ganked on himself more than anything, and talked about his shortcomings.
How about this? Not trying to cut you
No,
off.
go ahead. Go ahead.
How about this? How about in the way of Richard Pryor, how he made his comedy skit his own?
Oh yeah.
I give that. I say that in the sense of Ari Spears with his, because we know him for how he does his imitations of like Jay-Z, DMX,
and
phenomenal. Then also, and then also his comedy is very very edgy on the point of like it'd be like this dude literally was portraying Oprah Winfrey, and Shaq was a guest on the show on Mad TV, and he literally got on his knees. He literally got on his knees and he was looking at his junk. And I'm like, okay. And then there was another one. Now it's coming to me where he was like the gay basketball player, and the guy jumped up, his mouth wide open like this. And just like you with Richard Pryor as a kid, it didn't hit you until you got older. Until later. I'm like, oh.
He's had several. Ari Spears had several moments like that within his career. I mean, it's just like, what was it? One particular time on Mad TV, he was a part of this Wizard of Oz deal, right? And they had each character as a modern day, celebrity of that time period.
Mm-hmm.
Well, his was the Scarecrow, but he was more like Cisco or some bullshit. And he was gay as all get out, because everybody was accusing of Cisco being that way anyway because of how his hair was. But the thing is, the drop down to that was when Dorothy was about to go home or whatever else, she was trying to find her way home and all this other stuff. Somehow in the middle of that skit, he bones Dorothy in front of everybody. And in the background, you was like, you don't ever gotta go home. You don't ever gotta go home. And I was like, dude, this mofo is over the top. It's just his delivery of different things, whether it's a sketch or even comedy, it just throws you off, man. But what I love what you just did, though, you educated me on this, is that most of this has to do with Lizzo. And
yes,
we gotta address the elephant in the room. Anyway, the thing is, I was just talking about her today. I was like, she is a fad. She's not for longevity. She is really a fad, because right now the way the media is, it's for overweight women, it's for men to have low testosterone and be more filled with estrogen and have man boobs. I mean, it's just more in a mode of making her it's like, it's not even making her, it's like, all right, I'm gonna use this reference because I know you're big on wrestling just like I am. In the past 20 years, Vincent Kennedy McMahon has taken wrestlers that nobody really cared too much about, but made them main event. Why? Because he kept stuffing them in our fucking faces day after day, Monday after Monday, Friday after Friday, whatever, in pay-per-view after pay-per-view. Prime example, John Cena. John Cena has about 3 or 4 moves, right? But yet and still one of the biggest draws in the history of the WWE. Right now, you have Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is not the most technical wrestler out there. He's more of a power move guy. He has about 3 or 4 moves, kind of like Goldberg, but yet and still he has the look, he has the height, the stamina, whatever. in order to be a champion, and he bought this guy over and over. At one point in time, they brought The Rock in to help promote this guy even better, right? But yet and still, everybody still didn't like him. You know what I mean? But now people like him because of, like Mike Epps said about Kevin Hart at one point in time, when you have a war machine behind you, campaigning for you this whole time, you're going to make it. And that's what happened to him. So this is what's happening to Lizzo. Lizzo has a war machine for her in order to make her not only mainstream, but relevant when she's really not. Lizzo is that, please forgive what I'm about to say. Lizzo is that bitch who was in high school, who was a part of the fucking band that nobody liked. She was probably a sweet girl. She probably was nice to all the fucking football team, probably helped them out every once in a while to help them win a game, but yet and still, nobody really took her seriously. And now she's gotten famous playing flutes because she played the skin flute for so long, she perfected the real one. And then all of a sudden, she takes it to an extent that this particular year, when New Year's Eve came about, what was her statement that she said? Her New Year's resolution is to no longer mess with broke dicks. And then old boy was like, broke dicks? What do you mean? That means do not mess with dudes who have no money that could take her to the Bahamas. And I'm like, are you serious? This is your New Year's resolution, not to mess with broke dudes with good pipe. That's what you're basically saying. But yet and still, she's known as a hero. She's known as a world changer. She's known as this person that's making stuff happen in the world that nobody is really paying attention to. Lizzo, dude, she's a trend. Give it 3 years. Give it 3 years. Give it 3 years. And this bitch will act, she'll be like nobody even heard of her. She will be a figment of all of our imaginations, because I am sick of her already. I was sick of her when she came up on her come up. When she hit her apex, I was like, this bitch, come on. Are you serious? That's what I'm saying. I don't get her. But she basically has a beehive like Beyonce. Only difference is Beyonce does it differently. She doesn't go out shooting people down, talking about what's that dude that plays Captain America? You appear.
I was thinking of the wrong guy. I was thinking of Hillsworth, or whatever the freak his name is.
Yeah, I know who I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Everybody else know who I'm talking about. But you go ahead and text him some shit on either Instagram or Twitter.
I think it was Twitter.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, like you gonna go ahead and supposedly shame him like you do other people to go ahead and like you. Fuck you, bitch. You is not in this dude's caliber. And don't get me wrong, I'm not sweating his balls or anything like that. But the way I look at it is like this: if I'm this dude that's known as Captain America, I'm not getting caught with you at all. Because the thing of it is, the question is, did he respond? He ain't respond to shit, because he trying to, number one, keep his money, and number two, make sure he still get laid the way he wants to. So yeah, you can forget it. I'm sorry. I went on a rampage with that.
No. You gave me a chance to rant, and it's been plenty of times you give me a chance to rant on this show. I said, let me go ahead and let my boy do it. But for me, I think Lizzo is a very beautiful person. Do I think she's very feminist, too feminist at times? Yeah. Nah, don't get me wrong. Let me make sure my girlfriend's not here yet. All right, cool. But I like my woman. I like my woman with a little thickums up on the bills. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on the thickums thing. You know, I gotta have my woman gotta have some meat on her bones. But everything else that you said, I have to. I stand with my brother. I stand with him on that part because you know when I what. And the thing is, I'm not broke, Billsley. I know you're not broke. But people got a different perception of broke, and I hate that word perception because I always hear perception is your perception is my reality or something like that. Yeah,
No, they
you
say
remember
perception is reality. That's what they always say. Yeah,
which is BS. So when I hear broke, I hear you don't make my pay grade, basically.
mm-hmm.
That's basically saying that it's not saying that you don't have no money at all. You're not at my pay grade, and they could be at the same pay grade you at now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like having somebody working at McDonald's saying, I want to have somebody that works at freaking Microsoft, because Microsoft's big out here. Obviously, Bill Gates is from here.
Right.
I want somebody that make that Bill Gates money.
Mm-hmm.
But you got a guy right here who's got the same job as you, going to college, got his own little side business. I mean, not making them, is making money, is making for him to get by, but comfortably. And you ain't gonna give him a chance because y'all both work at the same job.
Let me give you an example of this. I'm gonna pull this from the Bible. I know I usually don't do this on this show, but I'm gonna pull this from the Bible. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Adam and Eve, right? Adam and Eve. Okay. Adam had this rule from God not to eat the forbidden fruit in the middle of the garden, right? And then at the same time, he could eat anything else except for that fruit right there, because it would open his eyes to what good and evil is, which he didn't even understand at that point in time, but it is what it is. He makes the woman Eve. And then at the same time, this thing called the devil talked to this girl and was basically, throwing some pimp game to her, like saying, did God really say that you would die if you eat this? And he was like, yeah. And he was like, you won't die. You'll be like him. You'll be able to see everything that he say and do what he can do, right? So this bitch goes on and eats the apple. But the thing at the same time, he gives it to Adam. Nothing really happens when she does it, but when Adam eats it, since he was in charge, right? Everything changes. My whole point of even saying that is this. Not all, some women, okay? It's enough women out there that does this on a regular basis. Some women out there are out there wanting to be more than what a man is at times, no matter what. And I'm not saying that we're not equal. I think we are equal, but we need each other, and we bring something to the table that the other one cannot. But this woman wanted to be so much more than what this man was that was standing beside her, that she was willing to go ahead and eat the forbidden fruit just to be over him. And this is the whole deal with this Lizzo shit. She wants, or basically what you were talking about, there are women out there that will have a guy that has the same salary. It could be 20, it could be 50, it could be 70, it could be $100,000 a year, right? Especially in this country, that's pretty good, $100,000 a year. And the thing of it is, if this dude is not making more than her, then she feels like she's failing. But the real deal of it all is this. You want somebody who makes more than you so you can go ahead and take a rest and then control the whole situation without having to work. And I get that. Don't get me wrong. I get that. But at the same time, when you go ahead and put a man on the level, you're a superstar at this level. You're a superstar at this level. Okay, I get it. You're a star, but the thing of it is, you're not catching superstar type people. So you put this pressure. You're putting this pressure on regular dudes, and try to say, you're not even in my caliber at this point. You're fucking right. He's not in your caliber at this point. If you're saying financially, he's probably not. He's probably the dude that you need. But at the same time, you don't want nothing to do with him because you can't use him as arm candy. Because nobody is using her as arm candy and showing her off to other people. You know what I'm saying? And Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then to add on that part, because I'm happy that was a good segue to what I was about to say. Mm-hmm. Because when he finally gets his side business going and started to get that traction, he's not even living comfortably no more. Now he's living the glitz. I won't say glitz and glamour, but he gets to get the nice Ford GT. He got the nice apartment downtown. That stuff. And we got our first comment. Hold on. Let me go ahead and check out the comment. We got Teach in the house. Teach!
Oh, whoa. She got her theme song. She's the queen.
We can put that as the pin comment. Teach is the pin first effort. Pin comment on here. But a good segue. So then when they start to get their little side deal and all that stuff, but now I don't know what you are talking about. Oh, we talking about the Ari Spears and Tiffany Haddish situation, but we just got talking about the Lizzo part of it, the singer. So here's the thing. So now that his side hustle has now become the actual business, because I actually seen this in a freaking in a meme, in a cartoon where
I know what
where it was the guy, he got on his glasses, Steve Urkel looking, and the girl, she's sitting there like, nah, I rather like you as a friend. And then when she's still in the same old, the same old town, same old place,
same old outfit too.
Yeah, she got same old outfit. She's pregnant. She got 2 kids, and she's asking about, where is Darrell? And Darrell's like off to Africa or something like that, vacation. And it was like, and I think it's also part of being like, oh yeah, you didn't hear? He got his own business and making this amount of money and all that stuff. But see, that shit happens every freaking day. Yeah. That one person that you kept in the friend zone decided to kick themselves out the friend zone. And you still dealing with Tweedledee, Tweedledum. And this guy who was telling you, hey man, my business is about to pick up, or I'm going to do this and it's going to skyrocket. Nah, it ain't going to happen. And now all of a sudden it happens. He comes visit the family, and you found out that he's in town. Now you're gonna sit there and go scoot over like, hey, you gonna give me this hug? I guess.
Yeah,
how you doing?
Exactly.
Like, what you doing? What you doing tonight? I'm going to hang out with my friends, but you can come. Oh, okay. You can come pick me up at such and such. Pick you up? Who picking you up? Uber?
How did you get here?
How did you get here? Because you know your mama. You know all moms. Moms got big mouths. They just want to tell everybody, my baby's back. My baby back. I love you, mama, and all the moms out there. You know how y'all is. Every time y'all sons and daughters come back, y'all want to tell the whole world that everybody in town, oh, my baby coming back. I can't wait. Yeah, and because it happens all the time. But see, that's the part that nobody don't want to talk about. But don't get me wrong. Lizzo, I think she's very beautiful. But at the same time, it goes back by to what you're saying. When you sit there and say, because I've never heard that comment before.
What?
But it does make sense with what approach, like what her fandom is all about, if that makes sense.
I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you real quick before I look like Shallow Hal. before this thing is over with. It doesn't matter how pretty you look. When your attitude fucking sucks, you're an ugly bitch, regardless of the fact.
Ugly. I believe that statement wholeheartedly. So,
Yeah.
but when it comes to men's financials, when you sit there and mention financials, that's when you first said that, Kevin Samuels came to mind. I was like,
Oh,
now, don't get me wrong. There are things that Kevin Samuels talk about that I totally disagree with. But
you're right.
majority
You're
of the
right.
stuff that he was saying, he was right. And I know Teach's gonna come at us for saying that, but mainly me. But
Oh, she
a
doesn't
lot
like
of
Kevin.
things
She don't like Kevin
she
Samuels?
does not like Kevin Samuels. She hates him.
Dude,
But
he was the truth, though. He was
but
the
Kevin
truth,
Samuels,
yeah.
when he was on it, he was on it.
Mhm.
Kevin Samuels, when he mentioned stuff,
Mhm.
and he said things, he was saying like they saying now. He said the quiet part out loud. A
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of men was thinking this. A lot of men was saying this amongst ourselves. Kevin Samuels was the one that just broke the lid off it, and he brought it to the forefront.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a big fan of Lizzo neither. You could go back to many of his videos, and he had certain videos where he talked about Lizzo. But for me, I just don't understand why Lizzo is so polarizing for me. But hearing what you were saying, it does make sense. But at the same time, still, I'm thinking to myself like, what is so Does she make good music? I could jam with some of her songs. A lot of the girls love it. I mean,
Of
if
course.
you go to the clubs, you can see a whole truckload of girls sitting there just danced up on the dance floor. So
Right. But
and then well, I told you, look what Teach put.
he's prophesied his own loneliness.
Look, if that don't tell you she don't like Kevin Samuels, I don't know what it.
He did tell some of them girls, get a dog and die alone, and in a certain way, it kind of helped it happen to him. But I mean, but the thing is, it's like this. I think at the bottom line, which is a part of why Lizzo is polarizing. Think about this. There's a high percentage of black people in general, especially black women who are overweight, out of shape, all these different things, right? But at the same time, it is known that you have a person like Lizzo, because she's not by herself. She's not by herself in this campaign that's going on of what I'm just about to mention. But she's encouraging girls to throw the light to love me as I am deal. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong, okay? It is important to love yourself as who you are, as a person. And it makes sense. But how long are you going to live doing that type of stuff? Meaning, the thing is, Lizzo, as beautiful or as not beautiful as this girl is, how long are you going to go ahead and live and do what you do on a regular basis? How long can you go ahead and be at that level of unhealthiness and try to testify to people that this is not a big deal? It's not a big deal or whatever else. The be real about it is this. I think both individuals, such as male and female, should take care of themselves in a better way, because it's better for the man and woman that's in relationships. And it's, she done said something. What did she say? The black family is out of balance. Male energy is feminine energy, and female. Miss Teach, again, you are 100% correct. And that's what I was alluding to. But you coasted that in there perfectly. That's the problem. We are not willing to go ahead and be better, not only for ourselves, but for the other person that's across from you. You know what I'm saying? You have all of these medical things that's going on. You got cats tripping out on diabetes or whatever else, but we love ourselves on soul food, right? The very food that's killing all of us. You know what I mean? Not all of us, but killing most of us on a regular basis. You got to remember, we don't need slave meals no more. But yet and still, we celebrate with that stuff on a regular basis. Maybe it is something to go ahead and honor ancestors and stuff like that, because in a certain, we have to heal ourselves and each other. You're correct. You're correct.
Mm-hmm.
You are correct,
Yeah.
ma'am. But that's the thing. We are breaking ourselves down on a regular basis and each other down when this stuff kind of happens. But what society has turned into, just like you mentioned, cancel culture, what society has turned into is men against women on a big regular basis, and at the same time trying to make one overpower the other just by supposedly existing, or because I am this, you need to respect me, or whatever else. No, you gotta. It's almost like you said about Cat Williams a couple of minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
If you driving, okay, you driving, if you make 2 or 3 wrong turns, somebody else needs to drive because you tripping. You don't know what the hell you're doing at this point.
You're tripping.
Right. Find some direction before you go ahead and do that. But dude, you making too many wrong turns with this. You need to go ahead and let somebody else take the wheel at this point. And that's what, I don't know. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah. It's crazy. It's a crazy deal, man. But I mean, I know I'm getting all in my feelings with
No, you good. I just happy that you brung up the I think my dog got frozen. Oh, he's back in. Mm-hmm. Millsy, you good? Give me a thumbs up.
Yeah.
You good? Okay, cool. Yeah, so yeah, man. I understand exactly what you're saying. I'm happy that we broadened the Lizzo thing up a little bit because of that. Now her fans, because I know it was her fans that looked up that Aries Spears video.
Right.
And you mentioned cancel culture, and I will say this once again, like I said in my open statement, I'm for cancel culture, but only on one premise. It has to be a freaking pattern of that person doing the freaking stuff that they're doing. Yeah. And if you go back on freaking Aries Spears' on his comedic journey, as I'm gonna call it, I have not seen any. Oh
man,
she's your queen to be. We are back, and it is great to have the queen, ladies and gentlemen, Anita Jope, aka Teach. Welcome
back. Get my bow
on. Oh my goodness.
Royalty is here.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. It's good to see you guys. I seen the notification earlier and I said, oh yeah, tonight is Monday. But I was doing some things and then I got bored with what I was doing. And I said, well, let me go and see what they're talking about. And so I'm here. It's good to see you, huh?
But Teach, before we go on with the topic, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, Teach, her nonprofit have joined a partnership. I want to say that, but I'm gonna let Teach elaborate on that much more with you. Teach, the floor is yours.
Okay, wow. Yes, we had a partnership agreement that we signed in August. The African Roots and Heritage Foundation, which is based in Detroit, Michigan, with Sertatola, which is one of the leading historical, language, and cultural preservation organizations in Africa. And this organization has posts in 11 countries. So they asked me to partner with them to host the new African Thought Conference that's going to take place next month in Yaoundé, Cameroon. So, as one of the partners of the new African Thought Conference, I was able to secure Dr. Wade Nobles as the distinguished guest speaker for our program. And this is, I love my conferences, but I love this the most because I'm actually a partner and not just an invited speaker. But we are boasting of over 60 speakers from around the world to participate in this conference to set the framework for how we should think as Africans going forward. Is very much in the same vein as the Harlem Renaissance, when after Reconstruction, the scholars put out a call to all the artists to give us a visualization of who and what you think the new Negro is. And they asked, what does that Negro do? What is his profession? How does he live? What is the contents of his home? Um, is he married? Is he single? Does he take a wife? Um, and what are his values and so forth and so on. And this actually helped America move the needle and guide our forefathers into settling or resettling themselves as newly freed or first or second generation free from slavery. So it's about identity. Now that we're free and we have mobility, how do we govern ourselves? What do we look like? And that's what this conference is about. It is 100 years since the first Pan-African Congress was called in Paris by W.E.B. Du Bois and others. So I'm happy to be a part of this great endeavor. I'm working day and night to make sure everything happens. I actually put out a call to the artists, be it musician and or poet, to come up with a theme song for the new African Thought Conference. And the idea behind the theme song is that it will carry well beyond the conference. The conference is going to be captured with producing a report and an anthology of all of the speeches that will be given. But the theme song will be digital, where it can continue to go and go and go. And we're hoping that it would catch like fire and it will permeate the minds of our youth and our older people to move Africa into that African Renaissance. And that's what we're working for ultimately, the reuniting of the Africans in the diaspora with the Africans on the continent to forge the future and create the Africa that we want. So I'm very happy that they thought that my work and leadership was worthy of a partnership.
Yeah, Teach. That's great to hear. I'm happy that you stopped by on to chill. But yeah, so we was actually talking about what, like I said, the Ari Spears situation, and we was just brought in the Lizzo side of it. First of all, have you heard of Lizzo?
I've heard of Lizzo, but I can't say I can identify her works. The only thing that I've got was the sensational thing where, she's a pretty big girl and she tries to dress, sexy or whatever have you. And that's all I really know about her.
I think she's just basically tying up what you were saying, Pilsy. So, but so
Thank you. This girl, I'm so sad to say, is a flash in the pan. But I have one. I have one statement, or actually two statements to say, if that's okay.
Go
To
ahead,
teach
go ahead.
real quick. First of all, Teach, who told you it was going to be good? That you was going to make it, right? The way,
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Your boy told you it was going to be good. You shot it. You shot it. That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you.
But number one, I mean, and it shows God can still speak through a donkey. So the thing is, your boy, like how David Chappelle say, I don't want to brag and say that God didn't speak through a donkey, but he did. He did. So the thing is, that was one thing. Congratulations. But number two, it was something you said about the Harlem Renaissance that really kind of threw me. The Harlem Renaissance basic motivation was to show America what the new Negro was about after Reconstruction. I'm gonna say this because I was lacking in knowledge when it came to that. My sister, who's 9 years younger than I am, right? She came to me and asked me about different things about history, because she figures I read a lot or whatever else. And I helped her with her homework, and she's on about that. And she was still in high school at this point, and she asked me, like, what is a way to challenge herself in this particular history class that she had. And I was telling her a bunch of things, and then I mentioned to her about the Harlem Renaissance. Now, mind you, she had to have been about 10th, maybe 11th grade at that point. And she was like, what's the Harlem Renaissance? I was like, girl, are you serious? You don't know what the Harlem Renaissance is?
Mm-hmm.
She was like, no. I was like, I'm going to tell you this. Go to your teacher tomorrow and ensure, ask him this question and see that he teach you what that is. Sure enough, it helped add to his curriculum, and she realized what that was. But I didn't even realize that was the basis of what that was. I understood that poets, jazz musicians, artists, everybody came about into making a world in Harlem that became the center of the world at that point in time. But I did not know that it was the structure for a lot of Black people to go ahead and or for, what's the right way to say this? For America to see Black people in a different way than what they have seen. Man, you opened my mind to that. And I appreciate that. Real quick, for real. I mean, I know this might sound lame for the moment, but for real, now I have an even fuller understanding of what that was all about. And I thank you.
It was about identity. I think the second tier was to show America what African Americans were about, but the first tier was to design a Black identity.
Right.
Hey,
for ourselves and forge ahead. So it was important for us to know, and if you know, between Marcus Garvey, Booker T. Washington, and W.E.B. Du Bois, they all had a different school of thought.
Right.
Du Bois talked about the talented 10th. For those that are smart, You can be educated. Go ahead, do the arts and letters, become the doctors, the lawyers, the nurses, the scientists, and attorneys. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But for those that's not smart, Booker T. Washington said, put your buckets down where you stand, build the bricks, be the general labor.
Yeah.
You know, and then Marcus Garvey, he said, we're totally lost. We have to conceptualize and embrace the idea of nationhood. And that's what Marcus Garvey designed the red, black, and green flag.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked about sovereignty. So what we're looking at is a broken people that had to put themselves back together. Right. So the Harlem Renaissance means new birth.
Yeah.
So it was a Harlem birthing. It you know, Harlem was the center place for it to happen. But I suggest that you read the Negro Caravan.
Oh, I gotta write this down.
The Negro Caravan was a collection of the writings, the plays, the poems that they asked the public to identify who and what is that new Negro.
Okay.
So with this African Renaissance, the African Renaissance is like part 2 of the Harlem Renaissance.
Okay. That's what's up.
Because we're looking for the new birth. And if you study the world history or the African world history, I'll just be specific. Africa was ravaged. Its people, its labor was taken out into the diaspora, into slavery. And on the heels of slavery being abolished, then Africa itself went into a seizure called colonialism.
Yep.
So you see the, how could I say, the yin and the yang of our people. We went through the travesty first. We became free first. And we began to identify ourselves first. So now the continent is celebrating 60 years of freedom from colonialism.
Who the queen who used to really benefited a lot from that?
Yeah,
but I digress. Anyway,
and see, I was about to ask that. I was like, let's go ahead and segue to a different question because you know the passing of the queen. So I'm gonna leave my comments last. And since we have our queen on here, what is your comments on the queen's passing? Go.
She passed, and she's dead now. she's no longer among the living. You would get no sympathy for me. I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, we should honor her." There is no honor in thievery. And if we really want to be, specific and get down to the details, it was the British Empire that brought us over here as slaves. See, we only became Americans almost 200 years afterwards. When the Americans decided that they no longer wanted to be colonized by their master, Great Britain.
Yep.
So I don't see, there's nothing for me to be sorrowful for. There are billions of people in the world and people die every day. Now, my issue and my concern is the legacy of thievery
being honored.
Exactly. There's nothing to it. Everything, her scepter, her crown, her jewels, the wealth, the gold that's in London was all stolen from around the world, not just Africa, but from around the world. And so
Yep.
what we're looking at is a champion of oppression. If I can come to your country, oppress you, and take your best out of it and adorn myself, then I am the queen. Okay, so you did wrong and you benefited from it. And there was nothing remorseful in your reign, even to the point that, one, you did not want to pay reparations. When
Nope.
Kira Khan filed their lawsuit, they threw it out. They did not want to pay any harms that was committed to the African people. And clearly we can see that Great Britain is still benefiting from the rape and pillage of slavery and colonialism.
Which is
So,
why I said nothing. I put no post except for maybe some buffoonery, but that's why I said nothing of
yeah,
honoring this person at this point in time. I
I don't owe her anything, but she
exactly.
owes my people a whole lot.
There it is. There it is, right there.
And Billsy, I guess that's your take, or you got something different than that.
Mm-mm. Oh, that's the take. That's the take.
That's
right
it.
there.
That's your take.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so I guess it's off to me. So how I feel about the Queen's passing, I'm gonna do it in two gestures. And it goes with the first one's with the stories. You remember our boy Bazaris, right? Billsy,
I
Joshua
think so.
Bazaris.
Yeah.
So you remember that time where our first sergeant at that time got into a motorcycle accident because he was dodging a deer?
Yes. Yes.
So it was a prayer breakfast that everybody, prayer breakfast basically chaplain and all that stuff, and you miss BT.
Right.
And our new colonel, I still remember his name, Colonel Burian, whatever his name is.
I used to call him Surfer Dude because he was always smiling when it was.
Yeah, always. So
that's all he was doing. Yeah.
This was his first prayer breakfast with us. Mm-hmm. And so as the chaplain, the guest chaplain was doing this talk, we over there having breakfast. The then XO motions, it was like we was like in a, how the defects have like a room with a glass door and all that stuff you can see inside. Yeah, so we was in one of those little special rooms, and you can see the XO. He motions to the commander, tell him to come on outside. Goes out there, talks to him, comes back, and just when the chaplain was getting done, the colonel comes up and he's like, "Hey, I just got some bad news. First sergeant such and such just had an accident last night, and he just got flown to Vanderbilt, which is and Teach, you was in the Kentucky area. You know where Vanderbilt was. It's downtown Nashville,
right.
And they flew them there, and it was just a silence, like a cold silence. And the next thing, it summed up how everybody felt about this guy. My boy Bazaris looks up. Coffee? Anybody want coffee? Coffee? Anybody
right.
Want coffee? I'm about to get some coffee. Oh, that my insides almost. I wanted to laugh out so loud, and I was like, and you remember Sergeant Dixon?
Yes.
Sergeant Dixon, who was his best friend / his supervisor, he looked at me too. He's like,
right.
Hey,
because you can't mess people over at such a height and have sympathy. I mean, I know I didn't know most of it until later, until after the accident. But I knew he messed over a lot of people in his life. Yeah.
And so when that happened, I had that same exact reaction. I'm like, and this was a couple days after coming back from school, I'm like, Queen dead? Okay. But my second one, and y'all gonna love this one. And the words of Bernie Mac and Soul Man, may she rest in shit.
Oh, dude. Dude.
I mean, she was 96 years old. She lived a long life. You know, so
yeah.
We all gonna die. We all gonna exit.
What is your?
But it's your legacy that you leave that's gonna make the difference. What is what Janet Jackson says? What have you done for me lately? And what the Queen said. This is what I did. I took your people, took your land, took your jewelry, took all your prized possessions. That's what I've been doing since I was here. That's what she was doing.
But what's most important was one of the most important things that Teach said in here is that she lived 96 years. It was 200 years ago, right? Since this happened. So if you live 96 years, you definitely benefited big time off of all.
You know who else you got in common with? You know who else you got in common with?
What?
The one woman that got Emmett Till killed.
Yep.
There you go. There you go.
She didn't die. You know, she didn't die a horrible death. She wasn't, as far as I know, sick, wrecked in pain. She just lived until she was 96 and died. No big deal.
And here's the thing, Teach. They was trying to bring that case back up. But thanks to the very, very right-leaning people over there, and not to mention the deep, deep South, they shut it down. The Till family wanted to bring it up, even to the point when I think the local NAACP wanted to bring it up, and they said, nope, she's too old. They did the Superfly Jimmy Snooker tactic. Oh, she's not going to remember. She's not going to remember. She's not going to recall. And even her family was like, you know, she understood what she did was wrong. She wants to apologize. No, hell no. If you have to dig her out her grave and put handcuffs on her, I'd be happy with that. But that's the sad. But that's the sad thing about this, because you also got our people out here that's out there sitting there. Well, we need to forgive. We got to forgive. We understand that
we don't have to do.
But
only thing we have to do is stay black and die.
I knew
we ain't got to do nothing.
Right, and I'm so sick and tired to forgive. Look, that's why I'm sick and tired to forgive this trait and Teach once again, because you open Billsy's eyes, but you've been opening my eyes too as well, and that's also on that forgiveness crap, because I'm sick and tired of forgiving, and I'm still getting screwed over. It's going even in death.
You know where I came from, right? You know what I came from.
Help me out.
It comes from that Bible, and I'm not talking about the Hebrew one that tells you the truth. I'm talking about the one that they gave the slaves, and in that one, it was the same size as the regular Bible, but at the same time, in that one, it didn't talk about freedom, about revolt, nothing. It talked about being loyal to your master, be loyal to the work that you do, and then at some point when you die, that's when you get to go to heaven. And that's what our ancestors were working toward. The ones I should say the ones who kind of took that in, because there were plenty of revolts that nobody talks about in history, but yet and still they go ahead and still hit you with this Bible. To this day, you have politicians, leaders, black leaders, everybody talking about you need to forgive. How that boy go when that girl went up into his apartment and shot his brother in the chest in his place, which I think the whole thing was about, that she wanted to go ahead and have a piece of chocolate, and he said no, and then she got peed off about it and shot this boy. So then all of a sudden his brother is on the stand and talking about, I think we should forgive her, and then hug her in the middle of the case. Listen,
Hold up. What's with the,
and his daddy too.
You say what?
And his daddy.
Yeah.
I don't know
His
about
daddy
that.
said
His
that too.
dad-
I know about the daddy, but I also
Yeah,
know
the daddy said that we should he looked forward to becoming friends with her. Everybody wanted to have sex with that girl. She wanted to have sex with everybody. That's all that was.
You know what I was looking
and then
forward
also
to?
that was the same one. That's the same one where the judge actually came down for the bitch and gave her a Bible.
hugged her.
Yep.
Gave her a
Yep.
hug.
Same one too.
And the bailiff. You know
Yep.
how to look forward to? First of all, beating the hell out of that little brother that was going on and going ahead and saying,
Oh,
I think we should forgive her.
Yep.
That's how I feel about it.
he
The
got
brother
drugged.
and the father, the bailiff and the judge.
I'd have been that one dude in the crowd, be like, Judge, could I have 5 minutes?
I was like,
no, you can't
you
have
like-
5 minutes.
and
Then
Judge,
you jump over the bailiff and you choke the hell out of that one, because that's the feeling at that point in time. That's jail time, but I'm just saying that's so crazy.
because the brother got drugged for that because he had to go on Good Morning America to explain himself about that. Even the freak, I forgot who was interviewing him, had the question like, why would you hug somebody that killed your brother? And also how the spirits work. She tried to get an appeal, got denied. I was like, yeah, you ain't gonna get out no time soon. You're
You
gonna
doing
serve
all 10 or 9 of them years. You doing
you
doing every bit.
But she probably gonna get out on good behavior.
Probably.
But see, that's the correlation that I have with the queen and with that one. I'm not even gonna call her a woman. That evil bitch. I said that killed Tip. When people just think just because somebody who does dirty deeds all their lives, this is the only time we gonna go ahead and respect them. You know what? I'm more like, if anybody watch CB4,
I'll be right back.
All right. If anybody watched that movie CB4, where the agent died and one of the guys he was not paying was punched him in the face, I think if everybody went to the freaking queen, she had like an open casket and had everybody come visit, and everybody that she screwed over or took their stuff from their land, the queen won't have no face no more.
No.
Her face will have been tore up. What's that teach?
I said, you're right. If they would,
Yeah.
if every country would take back their precious commodities, she would be laying there bare.
Yeah.
She'd be naked.
Yo,
But
it will be nobody left because people will be like, because somebody gonna get a couple shots in, sticks in, and all that stuff. I feel sorry for the freaking funeral home. They gotta deal with that, trying to fix that. I was just seeing people saying rest in peace, rest in peace. I'm like, rest in peace for what? And majority of them were Americans. I was like, why y'all sitting there saying rest in peace? Because if the queen had it her way, she would have went back to the colonial time, would have had people that looked like me in freaking chains on the field. And here's another thing too, with her daughter-in-law, what's her name? Meghan Markle, whatever her name is, the one that's. She already told her, "You're not part of the family. You just happen to be with one of my with my grandsons."
mm-hmm.
And she even said that when your kid is born, because it's mixed with Negro blood, it's not royal.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
And
It's not royal.
see, go back to one of those lessons I taught on the devil and his expiration date,
Mm-hmm.
and the heirs to his kingdom See, not everybody can inherit the kingdom of the devil. See, not everybody can inherit it. And they will tell you. That's why white supremacy is the kingdom of the devil. And no, not non-whites cannot inherit it because it is a blood pact. It is a pact that they made with the devil to be reign supreme in the earth. And that's why they can look at their own flesh and blood that have been mixed with other blood and still as slaves, still enslave them. They didn't free their children that they sired on those plantations. They may have been light skinned, but they still worked on that plantation. That did not grant them their freedom. So with that pact with the devil, it was only for their blood, their pure blood. If it was mixed blood, they were disqualified.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny.
And the funny thing you mentioned, Chief.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but real quick, because Chief, when you said that, definitely when you talked about the light skin, or the mulattoes as they will be called, I think about 12 Years a Slave, where it was like that. Now, there's many scenes on 12 Years a Slave that really just had me just want to punch somebody that wasn't my color in the face for absolutely no reason. But this one part popped in my mind when you said that was when he was on the porch with one of his mulatto kids, and he's sitting there playing with them and all that stuff. And then as he was getting up, he was like, "Yeah, my future, yeah, you're gonna have a future in the fields just like him. Yeah, you're gonna be taking up all the corn, tobacco, and all that stuff." I was like, "What?" Like, I mean, it hit me because I was like, "So you impregnate this one slave?" Because it was one slave, if y'all remember the movie, that he adored her to the point where his wife wanted to get rid of her.
Right.
It was a baby that she had from him, and he's telling his own baby, basically, you still gonna go out in the fields, boy. you just a mistake that, well, I won't say a mistake. I just basically just added on to my plantation, to my slave count.
Yeah.
So don't think because you're mixed with my lineage that you get any privilege.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's funny you said that because, okay, so this is the weirdest thing ever, right? When I went to junior high school, it was called Jefferson Junior High School, named after Thomas Jefferson and everything, right? What I didn't know was until later on, well, the principal said Thomas Jefferson was one of her favorite presidents. And I didn't understand because she was a Black woman saying this. And even at that point, I think I knew that he was a slave owner and all this other stuff. But what I didn't know until later on, that one of my best friends in that time period was a descendant of Thomas Jefferson. And I was like, what?
Oh, wow.
Yo, so he was light-skinned too. So the thing of it is, I was like, for real? And so the thing of it is, he told me the lineage. And then later on, I read up an article of how the direct descendants of Thomas Jefferson and the ones who were mixed, who were slave produced by him, were battling over the gravesite. Because in the gravesite, you have him and then you have his descendants. And they were like saying, yo, we deserve to be a part of this too. You know what I mean? Because he made us too and everything like that. It was a big deal about that. But it tripped me out to know that I'm going to a school of a slave owner. And then one of my boys is a product of that whole situation. And I was like, this is ridiculous, dude. This is insane.
I mean, and this is one of the things that Teach has opened both our eyes on, because I had to just look back. I'm like, damn, all the freaking presidents, that'd be the first 30 of them maybe were
Right.
fucking slave owners, like, or they
Right.
dealt with slavery. It's like shit. But I mean, but see, this is how it circles back around to the queen, because the queen, like, even if she didn't know anything about it, she benefited off it. But
I don't believe she
but
didn't know anything about it. That's bullshit.
yeah, yeah, and but I'm saying, I mean, even if she didn't know, but she knew what's going on.
Yeah.
Because eventually, if you getting all this money, like,
Mhm.
even I'm gonna use Apollo Escobar for example, with his wife. His wife probably knew that he was out there doing his thing with other women, just as long as you keep bringing the money in. Eventually, she knew why he was making this much money.
Right.
And like any other wife that sticks by her man, she's not gonna bring nothing up about it. She's gonna shut up, because as long as it's buy me my fur, buy me my nice car, buy me these nice houses, and we get to go on vacation, I can do whatever I want. That's all that matters.
And you got to remember, culture is different over there too.
That
You
too.
know? Yeah.
That
Because
too.
if she did anything to make that man look bad, she would have got pulled in the streets and never heard of ever again.
Right.
Believe
And
that.
then also with the queen, like, even when she took power, she probably didn't know, like, the first couple, almost a couple years, first year of her reign. But then when she started to go and actually see what's going on and was oblivious to it, she finally got it, because somebody gonna tell her, like, hey, this person's supposed to be feeding you, this person's
What
supposed to be rubbing your and
and
all
what
this
proved it?
stuff.
And what proved it? When Marcos came into the picture.
Yeah, and we were just talking about that when you left. We were just talking about that, and
How
even
dark
and look
is
at
this
Diana.
baby gonna be?
and look at Diana. Diana was the
Oh,
closest thing to
bro.
Meghan Markle, because Diana knew all of what the freaking what freaking Prince George and the Queen was up to, how much money they was making. She knew, like, this is wrong.
Yeah.
She didn't
Yeah.
like it that she kept going down into those African countries and actually sitting down talking with them. What is going on? We need to do something. And the queen just
Mhm.
basically just turned her head, and you got Prince George like look here, Diana. See, since you here, you got, this is how you got to do it and all that. Some Diana's like, no. She was the first G up in there to make a ruckus with the queen, and like, yo,
And
this is wrong.
that's why she had to go, because I mean, to be real about it, I didn't even understand it to that full extent, but I think that's what made her have to disappear, because no matter, even if she was away from them, she knew secrets about that place and about
Right.
how they rolled, and then it was like, oh hell no. You ain't.
Yeah.
You think you gonna roam free and be cool with this? And then looked at the kids after it happened and be like, if you don't abide by this, you're gonna be just like her, and that's real. And that's why they're still.
Yeah.
I think the only one that's really afflicted by this the most is the youngest one, which is why he's in Canada right now, because that dude, he mentally can't even figure this shit out in his own head right now, man. But it is what it is. It is what it is, man.
Now you got man. So we see the oldest one too. The oldest one's like, yo, I like this brown sugar over here. But my cousins,
Right.
They be going,
Right.
hey. I mean, they both.
You talking about the youngest one, but yo, do you?
Oh, that's the
know?
youngest one. Youngest one with Meghan Markle.
Yeah, but do you not know?
Oh, so they did move. Oh, I didn't know they moved. Okay,
they're in Canada.
Because I know
they're
the
in
other one. Yeah.
But let me help you real quick, Donnell. That's
help
his
me
cousin. Out. That's his cousin, bro.
Meghan?
That's his cousin. Yes, bro.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. You heard it here first.
No.
Wow.
No, you ain't hear it first. Them motherfuckers knew. That is his cousin, bro. It is okay. Check this out. Through her father. Her father is related to that lineage. The black woman came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? She has no affiliation. It's her father. And so therefore, by him messing with her, it keeps it in the family. All right, let me enlighten you a little more. The queen, right? Who did she marry? Her third cousin, bro. Third cousin. That's why Prince Charles looked retarded as hell. That's what I'm saying, bro. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. That's her third cousin, bro. That's her third cousin. Yeah.
All right, okay. I gotta go ahead. Gotta go ahead and cut this short. We was waiting on Mayo to come on, but we happy to have Teach on. But Teach, anything you want to add?
Nah, just that oh yeah, there is one thing I wanted to add. With this critical race theory, they are psychologically psyching Black people out. When they dropped a trailer about the Emmett Till movie, Black Twitter went crazy, talk about they didn't want to hear nothing that was in the past, and they don't even want to see it. They hope it flop. It was just so much negativity that this generation don't even want to hear the story. But guess what? Emmett Till's killer is still alive. So it's not in the past, it's in the present.
Yeah.
But they are so far removed from aligning themselves with the story and the history of Black people that they have already doomed the movie before it even opens up.
Just like,
and that's a sad state of affairs for Black people.
Just like they did with what is the name of that movie?
Birth of a Nation.
Birth of a Nation.
Yep.
They did the same thing.
I saw that movie and I was like, I was floored. I was like, wow. I said, I see why they trying to come at him for this. That I love it. And then also, Teach, you know what? I do have a confession to make. When I first saw, I didn't even know they had a movie out for it. I heard rumors, but I didn't know that they was actually going to go through with it, and they actually did. I was one of those that was like, why are we showing this movie? Why? But you just brought it home to me because we need to know. Because once again, that bitch is still alive, number one. And number two, we got to realize with all this, it's great to record a Karen and seeing, seeing them sometime to get their justice due, but majority of the time is them just watching them ranting and raving over what they're not getting, or they see Black people doing something, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But not remembering back then, there was a time when you had women like that, white women, that would do those things, and you would get killed. You was either going to go to... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. It's just like you said before this broadcast even started. There are people out there right now that don't even know who Michael Jackson is. And he only died, he died in 2009. And I'm not saying this in a way that he should be always in the mode of history, because I think so, because of my nostalgia and everything, and the genius he brought to the music industry. But I will say this. Spike Lee said this about 30 years ago. He said that there are kids out there right now who don't know who Jackie Robinson is. That's how sad it is with kids now. They don't even know who certain prominent historical people are in this day in the past, period. They have no idea who some of these people are. Yet I'm over here giving lessons like about Frederick Douglass and all this other stuff to kids who are like 20 years younger than I am. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying.
And Teach, I'm just so happy that you brought that back to me, because I'm like, as much as because I know of the story, I was taught in schools about it, but we do need to, because like I remember, it's funny, I bring up the time when we had Brandon on the show, and he was trying to convince you that we don't need CRT, that we should just leave it alone. But you was not going to let him get away with that, and
No way.
you was like giving them the business. You was giving them the work. And I was like, damn. And that was one of those times, hey, Bill, that was one of the times where I just like sit back and I just watch. I just wish I had popcorn. And Teach was giving the business. And she was sitting there was saying, like, oh, we do need to learn our history, because if we're not going to learn our history, we're doomed to repeat it. And so
that's that right there, the burn right there. That's what I was always worried about. But I realized it never will happen as long as I'm respectful. If I'm respectful, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes you are giving me a lot of respect, but sometimes you are painting a picture like I'm this big old monster.
No.
That's gonna eat you alive.
Teach. No,
Teach. Go ahead, Billsy.
No, you got to understand. It's not a respect of fear. It's not a respect of fear. It is a respect of understanding. You know what you're talking about.
Right. I was about to say that. That was wild.
It's so the thing of it's almost kind of like how you have your mom or even like somebody that you know has gone through different things in their life. Mm-hmm. And for you to go ahead, for me, I'll say for me, for instance, for me to be that small, to go ahead and challenge it in the wrong way, that's detrimental to myself. And I don't want that in my life.
Right. And
that's like standing in front of a Mack truck at that point. And
right. and Teach, and you're all about, excuse my terminology, you all about your shit. And when you all about it, and somebody trying to think that they know what you're talking about or know what your knowledge base is, you gotta check them on it. You know, I mean, you got a freaking degree.
Yeah.
And what you're teaching. So if you have some rando that's sitting there thinking that he knows what he's talking about, yeah, you're gonna check him. Yeah, you're gonna be that Mack truck, bump the Mack truck. You that freaking Japanese freaking
the
light
bullet
rail,
train.
the bullet train going through them. They don't even realize that you already sliced right through that mess.
Bro,
in other words, you're eating them alive. Pause. But
we barely cussing in front of you. And that's for a reason. That's for a reason.
Right.
It kind of reminds me of what DMX said. DMX said his grandmother would come through the neighborhood. The thugs would be jacking up somebody, robbing them. And then all of a sudden, his grandmother would come by. They would hide the person behind them and be like, "Hi, Miss Simmons. How's it going? You know, everything is good. Everything is good." And the moment she walked past, they get back to doing what they're doing. Because she ain't supposed to see that.
Right.
But Teach, but like I said, I thank you for bringing me back on there, because now I'm looking forward to seeing this movie. I think this movie comes out probably a little bit after my birthday, September 27th. Because a lot of movies, it's funny, a lot of good movies are coming out on my birthday, September 16th, which is crazy. I know it is something. And so,
well, happy birthday! In case I not around when you take your next rotation around the sun.
Yeah, thank you, Teach. Thank you. But yeah, I really do thank you for bringing me back, because now I want to go see that movie now. But yeah, I think that should be our next subject. Hopefully, I could do a show when I'm coming back.
Yeah, that's our battle. That's my ongoing battle, to keep the youth interested in ourselves, in our history. Our forefathers did the sit-ins to get the African Studies departments. We have bachelor's degrees in it. Some colleges offer certificates, but it's very few colleges that offers masters and PhDs in the field. They don't see it useful. And so all their work is going to come to be in vain if we can't keep it going, if we can't agitate for ourselves, and it's not to cause a war. For me, it is a strategy for men and women of color to understand the game and play the game to the best of your ability, that you come out on top of the game. That's what it's about. Not getting hateful and want to take up arms and want to start a war, but you can negotiate for yourself in every situation you find yourself in your own personal life. That's what it's about. Putting yourself to the advantage. Mm-hmm.
True that.
And putting ourselves to the advantage of going to the final points. And since Teach is since she's here, we're gonna have you as last. Teach, save the best for last. So I'm gonna go ahead and give my final points first. The Wet Network is officially up. It is up, thank goodness. We got the freaking domain name for it. We're gonna be on invitation only for now. Hopefully Billingsley, I sent the link to you, Teach. I actually sent the link to everybody to check it out. So I'm just gonna give you the ins and out of it real quick. So basically it's like social media. Unfortunately, right now when you upload videos, it's going to only be through YouTube or probably through Vimeo, whatever how you pronounce
Vimeo.
it.
Yeah, I got you.
Vimeo, you can upload those type of videos. So that is the only thing that I'm having issues with. But guess what? It's useful. So just upload your YouTube or your Twitch or wherever. You can also, if you already have like a Patreon and all that stuff, you can share those links on there too as well. It's your own personal social media. You don't have to worry about any copyright infringement. You don't have to worry about being demonetized. You control your own monetization. I'm just so happy for having this platform. And this is for the content creators, and then for all y'all that support these content creators. It's a one-stop shop for you to see your favorite content creators' content, as well as spread your horizons with all the content creators on the Wet Network. It's officially up. But only for now. We will let you know on any updates, just in case we are open to the public. Billsley, you're up.
All right. As for my final thoughts on this one, look, Mr. Darnell had a plan, but just like Mike Tyson said, you might have a plan, but until you get punched in the face, then that goes throughout the way. And Teach, you were the punch in the face, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And why am I saying that? Because I learned a lot in the matter of time that we have been here. This is why you are important in this realm. But the thing I am saying is this. We as a people in general really need to fully understand what the game is in general. Even though we were talking about celebrities such as Lizzo, Ari Spears, different individuals who are trying to figure out their lives. We, in a certain way, as a Black people, really need to go back to what Teach had mentioned, what the Harlem Renaissance are. We have to develop who we are as a people and then walk into that. You know what I mean? I think even there's a passage in the Bible that says, how does it go? Without vision, a people will perish, and that's
right.
Huh?
You're correct.
Right. And that's the problem. We as a people do not have a vision of ourselves. We allow social media, the media, old media, new media, whatever. We allow them to throw the narrative of who we are as a people. I know in general, most people on this panel will go to somewhere new or go around people who don't know us. And all of a sudden, especially if they have a different shade than we have to prove ourselves over and over again to help them understand that we're not the stereotype that the media is making. If I go to Japan right now, from my understanding, they are really big on wearing blackface and saying the N-word on a regular basis. But at the same time, you open your mouth, which I have done on many occasions. The moment you open your mouth as a person and they see you who you are, wow, you're different from what the stereotype is. You know what I'm saying? So we should not be swayed by what is thrown upon us as a stereotypical Negro. We should make our own, as Darnell says, control our own narrative and be who we are as people. That's enough of me at this point in time. You on next, bruh.
On you, Teach.
Absolutely. My final point is this: rise, star, and shine. That's where I am in my life. And I just want to say how a curious thing happened to me. Well, I don't want to mention the organization, but I'm part of this organization. And I mentioned to them that I couldn't fulfill a certain role because I just really had too many things on my plate. And they created a subcommittee, and then they said, okay, well, you're going to be the chair of the subcommittee. And I'm like, well, no, there's too much responsibility. I just want to kind of, be in the background because I have this conference coming up next month and I really need to, I need my time. I just don't have time to divide myself, and I don't want to be negligent for the things that you all need and the things that I must do. And so they weren't hearing it. They're like, okay, you're going to be the chairman of this committee. and so I could not be negligent. They would not allow me. And it very well, someone else could have taken up the slack because I just asked for a temporary reprieve until my program is over in October. Once it's over, it's over. But it's getting there. I'm trying to organize from here and have everything together when I get on the ground and make sure that that everything is in place and is in order. And they were not hearing it. And it made me feel like when you have created excellence, people will not accept anything but excellence from you. So they put me there. I tried to hold a meeting and elect someone temporarily. They're like, nope, you're the one. And so I said, okay, I'm going to attend one more meeting. And after that, I am going to be absent. And we had to create a form. And they said, well, let's just create this form and blah, blah, blah. We come back next week. I said, no. And I sat there in that meeting and I created the form. And I said, now, open up the screen so I can share the form because it's done. because when we come out of this meeting, I'm finished with y'all. And I said, look over the form and, you know, tweak it and let's get it done. We don't have to wait till next week because I know I'm not going to pay you all no mind next week. And we got it done. And they're like, oh, this is wonderful. And I said, okay. Sometimes you may not have the time or may not think you have the time, but what you can contribute matters the most. How you contribute is exactly what they needed to go forward, to get a whole committee energy, because they were really lackluster and didn't want to do anything, and you know, and so I said all that to say, operate at your level and keep it going.
You go.
Yes.
There you go. And with that being said, another great show. I know it's been a while since we did a show. We told y'all that I had training, and we also have other things in our lives, and we was a month off. It's great, wonderful to be back. Hopefully we can get a show in next Monday, but we will keep you updated. But as for, and I'm so happy to say this, y'all just don't know how much I've been saved to say this. As for my boy Billingsley, as well as Teach for tuning in, and me as your gracious host, Donnell Lamar Boards. This has been great, and it's great to be back. But now I need y'all to head on out, go to the Wet Network, DM me if you want to get on the Wet Network so we can give you the invitation to go on. Mainly content creators. Right now, we just ask for content creators so you can make your profile now and that you can invite your crew. You can invite your audience. But on that, top us hell out. Thank y'all for tuning in. See y'all next Monday. Catch y'all later.
It was
Bye,
good seeing you guys. All right.
Yes, yes.
I wish y'all could come to Cameroon with me.
Oh, I'm gonna be there at some point. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah. Same here.
I need
and
you
with
to.
that,
There's so many interviews that we can do with so many people that's going to be at this conference. We got confirmed attendance for 3 African presidents. This is truly a VIP conference. So I need you all to put your pennies together and get your passport. And when I say let's, you say go.
hey, don't worry. I'm currently working on my next appointment is the first week of October. So that's a heads up for you. But other than that, we gotta go. Catch y'all later. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Good night.
Yeah, I'm flipping, spitting these lyrics. Got you feeling what I be saying like you caught the Holy Spirit now. I done went through some shit up in my past, but it fertilized my future. Now I'm harvesting my cash. I like them pretty, but they can't be hot, so did it. Talking like I'm gon' buy what you want, you think it's silly, girl.